Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Unman Bhattacharya, coming up in the next 30 minutes. Prime Minister Narendra Modi chairs Cabinet Committee on Security meeting. Union Home Minister Amit Shah briefs the CCS on the security situation in the Kashmir Valley in light of the Pahalgam terror attack. Home Minister Amit Shah visits Pahalgam terror attack site, meets families of victims, reviews security in the Kashmir Valley. India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh vows befitting reply to those behind the Pahalgam terror attack, says not just the killers, India won't even spare those behind the scenes. Indian agencies release the sketches of suspected terrorists. A national investigation agency team reaches Pahalgam. Messages of support and solidarity pour in from across the globe. Leaders and governments condemn the terror attack. Prime Minister Narendra Modi convened an urgent high-level meeting of the Cabinet Committee on Security or CCS at his residence following the terrorist attack in Pahalgam, Jammu and Kashmir. Union Home Minister Amit Shah, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar and other senior officials were present at the meeting. During the meeting, the Union Home Minister is believed to have briefed the committee on the developments since the attack, including the security review and response measures undertaken after the terror attack. Prime Minister Narendra Modi had held an emergency meeting with National Security Advisor Ajit Doval and External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar at the New Delhi airport immediately upon his return from Saudi Arabia, as he took stock of the situation following the terror attack in Pahalgam that claimed 26 lives. Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri was also present. The Prime Minister cut short his visit to Saudi Arabia and returned to India after the news of the terror attack. The Prime Minister has said that those behind the attack would not be spared. Home Minister Amit Shah visited the Baisaran meadow where the attack took place. It is located around 5 kilometers from Pahalgam. The minister took a detailed briefing on the incident from the officers concerned. Home Minister Amit Shah paid homage to the victims by laying a wreath at a poignant ceremony in Srinagar. Minister Shah and Jammu and Kashmir's Lieutenant Governor Manoj Sinha met the families of the victims of the terror attack. The Pahalgam attack is one of the biggest terror attacks in the Kashmir Valley in recent years. The Home Minister said that the culprits of this dastardly terror attack would be brought to justice. The Home Minister visited the Government Medical College in Anantnag to meet the injured victims of the Pahalgam terror attack. The attack carried out by terrorists at Baisaran meadow in Pahalgam on Tuesday is one of the deadliest in the valley since the 2019 Pulwama strike. In the aftermath of the Pahalgam terrorist attack, the security forces launched a counter-infiltration operation. The Indian Army eliminated 2 Pakistani terrorists who attempted to cross the line of control into the Uri sector late last night. Brigadier Mayank Shukla has said that the security forces received information about the movement of Pakistani terrorists in the Uri sector. On the intervening night of April 22nd and 23rd, the Indian Army received the information about the presence of terrorists at a launch pad near the Uri Nala.
और 23 अप्रैल की रात को तकरीबन 1 बजे आतंकवादियों की संदिग्ध हरकत को उड़ी नाले के नज़दीक दुश्मन के एक नज़दीकी लॉन्च पैड पे देखा गया। इस हरकत को देखते हुए हमारी सर्वेलेंस, हमारे ड्रोन्स और साथ ही ज़मीन पर लगाई हुई हमारी एम्बुश पार्टीज़ को रीडिप्लॉय और रीसाइट किया गया। आतंकवादियों की लाइन ऑफ कंट्रोल की नज़दीक आती हुई हरकत को लगातार ट्रैक किया गया। तकरीबन 3 बजे आतंकवादियों ने जैसे ही लाइन ऑफ कंट्रोल को पार किया, हमारे एम्बुश ने इसे एंगेज किया। फायरिंग तकरीबन 2 घंटे के आसपास चली, जिसमें कि 2 आतंकवादियों को मार गिराया गया। इसके बाद इस घने जंगल के इलाके में तरतीबवार तरीके से सैनिटाइजेशन और सर्च की कार्रवाई की गई।
Indian security agencies have released sketches of 3 suspected terrorists involved in the attack. A national investigation agency team has reached the attack site. The Jammu and Kashmir police joined the investigation. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh has warned of a befitting response to the Pahalgam terror attack. He made the remarks at the Arjan Singh Memorial Lecture in New Delhi.
हमारे देश ने अनेक निर्दोष नागरिकों को खोया है। इस घोर अमानवीय कृत्य से हम सभी गहरे शोक और दर्द में हैं। इस दुखद समय में दिवंगत आत्माओं की शांति के लिए मैं परमात्मा से प्रार्थना करता हूं। यहां मैं भारत के दृढ़ संकल्प को दोहराना चाहूंगा कि टेररिज्म के खिलाफ हमारी जीरो टॉलरेंस की पॉलिसी है। भारत का एक एक नागरिक इस कायरतापूर्ण हरकत के खिलाफ एकजुट है। मैं इस मंच से देशवासियों को आश्वस्त करता हूं, घटना के मद्देनजर भारत सरकार वो हर कदम उठाएगी जो जरूरी और उपयुक्त होगा।
Earlier, Minister Singh held a meeting with the chiefs of the 3 armed forces in New Delhi to discuss the security situation. In a strong response to the recent terror attack in Pahalgam, India's Minister of Tourism has condemned the cowardly act, stating that a few elements are once again attempting to revive separatism and terrorism in Kashmir through their malicious intentions.
माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी, माननीय गृह मंत्री जी दोनों ने जिस तरह से कल वक्तव्य दिया है और प्रधानमंत्री जी अपना दौरा छोड़ करके बीच में लौटे हैं, गृह मंत्री जी अपना सब कार्यक्रम स्थगित करके सीधे श्रीनगर पहुँचे, उनका वक्तव्य और उन्होंने जिस तरह से इसको रिस्पॉन्ड किया है, ये भारत के और माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी के आतंकवाद के प्रति ज़ीरो टॉलरेंस नीति का स्पष्ट परिचय देता है। और जैसा प्रधानमंत्री जी और माननीय गृह मंत्री जी ने अपने वक्तव्य में सीधे सीधे कहा है कि ऐसी कायरतापूर्ण घटना को अंजाम देने वाले प्रत्येक व्यक्ति को इस कृत्य के लिए कठोरतम दंड मिलेगा, इसको सुनिश्चित करेंगे।
In the wake of the tragic terror attack, Civil Aviation Minister Ram Mohan Naidu said that the government has given strict instructions to airline companies to avoid any fare surges. Fares are being monitored and kept at reasonable levels. He also said that all airlines operating from Srinagar have waived off cancellation and rescheduling charges to support passengers. US Vice President on Wednesday condemned the Pahalgam terror attack and said that the US is ready to provide all assistance to India.
I want to just, of course, issue our condolences to the people of Kashmir who were affected by this terrible terrorist attack. The President's already spoken with Prime Minister Modi. I believe I'll be speaking with him later this afternoon. And obviously we're providing whatever assistance and help we can provide to the government, to the people of India.
On Wednesday, the Kashmir Valley observed a complete shutdown for the first time in 35 years to show solidarity with the victims and survivors of the terror attack. Organizations from all walks of life supported the call for a shutdown as a mark of protest. Meanwhile, Chief Minister Omar Abdullah has called an all-party meeting tomorrow in the aftermath of the Pahalgam terror attack. DD India's Vishal Baristo reports from Srinagar.
Kashmir has erupted in anger and anguish against the dastardly terror attack. Black flags at the historic Lal Chowk in Srinagar, perhaps symbolic of the black day that befell the valley on Tuesday as the attack killed 26 tourists in Pahalgam. Traders across the Union Territory have called for a complete shutdown on Wednesday. The Chamber of Commerce and Industries Kashmir, Jammu and Kashmir Hoteliers Club, all travel associations, transporters, restaurant owners and civil society groups jointly called the shutdown. Business communities in Poonch, Jammu and other places also observed shutdown.
कल पहलगाम में बहुत बड़ा इंसिडेंट हुआ है। हमने आज प्रोटेस्ट किया है। जो भी उसमें मुलविस है उनको सख्त से सख्त सजा दी जाए।
Residents are coming out in large numbers, raising slogans against Pakistan. They described the attack on tourists as an attempt to damage the image of Kashmir's hospitality. Tourists are also disappointed with the tragic developments. Some want to return home, while others want to complete the planned vacation.
We didn't feel any insecurity over there, and today also we are roaming very freely over here.
We are staying in Srinagar. We are going to Gulmarg tomorrow, and then Gurez, and then local sightseeing again Srinagar.
Meanwhile, the front pages of Kashmir's leading newspapers went black, a stark visual protest against the brutal terrorist attack in Pahalgam. The coordinated editorial blackout served as a collective cry of anguish and a call for accountability after one of the deadliest attacks in the region in recent years. Vishal Baristo's report from Srinagar for DD India.
Earlier, US President Donald Trump, Australia's Prime Minister Anthony Albanese and Nepal Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli spoke to Prime Minister Narendra Modi and condoled the loss of innocent lives in the Pahalgam attack. Russian President Vladimir Putin, Italy's Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni and Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu also reiterated their support for India's fight against terrorism.
Leaders from across the globe have strongly condemned the terror attack in Jammu and Kashmir and reiterated their unflinching support for India. US President Donald Trump spoke with Prime Minister Narendra Modi and expressed his deepest condolences at the loss of innocent lives. Earlier, Trump reiterated support for India in its fight against terrorism. In a letter to President Draupadi Murmu and Prime Minister Modi, Russian President Vladimir Putin also expressed condolences over the Pahalgam terror attack. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres strongly condemned the attack on tourists in Kashmir. EU Chief Ursula von der Leyen also condemned the killing of people by terrorists in Kashmir as a vile terror attack and added that India's spirit is unbreakable. Extending condolences to the victims of the Pahalgam terror attack, Israel Foreign Minister Gideon Saar said that Israel stands united with India in the fight against terror. Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman and Muslim World League Secretary General Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdul Karim Al Issa also condemned the ghastly terror attack in J&K's Pahalgam. Italy's Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer, Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese, Sri Lankan President Anurakumara Dissanayake and Nepal's Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli condemned the terrorist attack and expressed their solidarity with the nation. Ayushi Bhatnagar's report for DD India.
Prime Minister of Mauritius, Dr. Naveen Ramgoolam, also extended his condolences for the loss of innocent lives. MEA spokesperson said Prime Minister of Mauritius called Prime Minister Modi and offered his deepest condolences on the senseless killing of innocent people in the terror attack in Jammu and Kashmir. He strongly condemned the cowardly terror attack. He expressed support and solidarity with the people of India in this hour of grief and stated that the two countries remain united in the fight against terror. Amid the tensions in Pahalgam, a positive development is unfolding in Srinagar, the capital of the Indian Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, where tourists are choosing to stay and show resilience against brutality. Vishal Baristo from DD India reports from the ground.
Here at Lal Chowk, I have a group of tourists. They are from Gujarat, Surat, and let's talk to them. How do you feel because you are here at Lal Chowk? Are you sure that you want to stay back or there is some kind of anxiety?
We didn't feel any insecurity over there, and today also we are roaming very freely over here.
How has been your experience with the locals because they have offered all kind of help?
They are very cooperative and they helped us to eat. In each and every hotel, they were allowing us to go in the washrooms. They had even served very well in each and every hotels also, and the people over here are also very cooperative.
So what is your plan? Will you stay back in Kashmir?
We will go. We will go back.
So what is your schedule from Srinagar? Do you plan to move out or you will stay in Srinagar only?
We are staying in Srinagar. We are going to Gulmarg tomorrow, and then Gurez, and then local sightseeing again Srinagar.
So there you heard from these people that the indomitable spirit of the Indians of the United India is here. You can see they want to stay back and they want to tell the terrorists that they are not to be cowed down. Such kind of act, inhuman act, will not disturb them because they stand united along with the people of Kashmir.
Kashmir Valley observed a complete shutdown over the brutal killings of tourists in the Pahalgam meadows for the first time in 35 years on Wednesday. The locals have shut down shops in protest. DD India's Vishal Baristo brings you this ground report.
I'm here at the Lal Chowk area of Srinagar. This area used to bustle with a lot of crowd, business and tourists. But because of the solidarity band, this is a quiet place. Now, as you can see, all the shops, they are closed here. There is no transaction, no business, no tourists to be found. But here there is something very interesting. Here it is airport free service. Now these people, they are giving free service to the airport. He is a shopkeeper, his business is suffering, and they are saying it's an attack on the Kashmirians. There is the clock tower, and it's quite a sad scene here because this is the epicenter of Srinagar. This is the place which signifies Srinagar. But today, because of the Band, there is a total different kind of picture here. People are very sad, they are angry. There is a kind of opposition, there is a kind of anger. And why not? Because this is the time when people of Kashmir, people of Srinagar, they would like to have a boom in their economy. This is the peak of tourist season. But sadly, what occurred in Pahalgam has an effect over all of the state. With cameraman Mohit Uike in Srinagar, this is Vishal Baristo for DD India.
Still to come on DD India Live. With peace talks in Ukraine downgraded, Kremlin says there are many nuances around Ukraine talks and positions have yet to be narrowed. Israel's Prime Minister appears before a court to testify in a long-running corruption trial. And powerful earthquake of 6.2 magnitude shakes Istanbul.
I always believe a good story with the right vision can break boundaries. RRR proved that with the applause it got in the US market, in the Japanese market. World Audiovisual and Entertainment Summit Waves is exactly doing that now, taking Indian entertainment global. So grab your seat, the adventure begins.
Connecting creators, connecting countries. Waves 2025.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. A Russian drone on Wednesday hit a bus carrying workers in the Ukrainian city of Marhanets, killing 9 people. The emergency services said that several fires broke out in residential buildings, warehouses and garages were damaged. Meanwhile, the UK government said that Ukraine peace talks, which were scheduled to take place in London on Wednesday, have been postponed, but a meeting of lower-level officials will still take place. On Wednesday, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky pushed back against calls for Ukraine to recognize Russia's control of Crimea. Earlier, US media reported that Trump is ready to accept recognition of Crimea as Russian territory.
Ми починаємо говорити про Крим, As we start talking about Crimea, our sovereign territories, etc., we enter the format that Russia wants, a prolongation of the war, because it will not be possible to agree on everything quickly. Ukraine does not legally recognize the occupation of Crimea. There is nothing to talk about. It is outside our constitution. This is our territory, the territory of the people of Ukraine.
Домовитись про все не вийде.
The Kremlin said on Wednesday there were many nuances around talks on finding a way to end the conflict in Ukraine. The Kremlin made its comments after talks between the US, Ukraine and European officials faltered on Wednesday as US Secretary of State Marco Rubio abruptly cancelled his trip to London and negotiations were downgraded. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said Russia was continuing dialogue on a possible settlement with the US but was not in contact with Europe or Ukraine. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu arrived at the Tel Aviv District Court on Wednesday to testify in his long-running corruption trial. The Israeli Prime Minister has continuously denied any wrongdoing and has pleaded not guilty. He appears weekly in a Tel Aviv court to testify in the 2019 indictment in 3 cases involving gifts from millionaire friends and allegedly seeking regulatory favors for media tycoons in return for favorable news coverage. US President Donald Trump will be on a 3-nation visit to West Asia. Trump will travel to Saudi Arabia, Qatar and the United Arab Emirates from 13th to 16th May, as confirmed by his spokeswoman Caroline Leavitt on Tuesday. It will be his second foreign trip since assuming office this January. The trip follows Trump's planned visit to the Vatican for the funeral of Pope Francis on Saturday. The trip aims to bolster US ties with West Asian countries, with Saudi Arabia being the country in focus as it was the first destination of his previous presidency back in 2017. Notably, the visits will come at a time when the US is engaged in nuclear talks with Iran and key discussions with Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on trade and regional instability. 2 US judges on Tuesday extended temporary blocks on some deportations of Venezuelan migrants. They signaled that President Trump's invocation of a 1798 law may not survive judicial review. A US judge wrote in a ruling that Trump's government must give Venezuelan migrants detailed in Colorado a notice of 21 days in advance before any deportations under the Alien Enemies Act and must inform them of the right to challenge their removal. A judge in Manhattan appeared inclined to inquire and require the government to notify Venezuelans at least 10 days in advance before deporting them under that 18th century law. The Alien Enemies Act authorizes the US president to deport, detain or place restrictions on individuals whose primary allegiance is to a foreign power and who might pose a national security risk in wartime. A powerful earthquake with a magnitude of 6.2 rattled Istanbul on Wednesday. This marks one of the strongest tremors to impact the city. The epicenter was near Silivri, west of the city, at a depth of about 7 kilometers. Following the initial quake, 3 aftershocks ranging from 4.4 to 4.9 in magnitude were recorded. Residents evacuated buildings. There were no immediate reports of casualties or significant structural damage, while 1 injury was reported after jumping off a balcony. Meanwhile, authorities are conducting field assessments and residents are urged to avoid entering potentially unstable buildings. The European Union on Wednesday fined Apple and Meta a combined $798 million in the first enforcement of its landmark digital competition law. Apple was found to have breached its anti-steering obligation under EU's Digital Markets Act, while Meta was fined over its pay for privacy system, which means users have to pay to avoid data collection. The European Commission said that it has fined Apple $570 million and $228 million on Facebook's parent Meta. The EU fines could stoke tensions with US President Trump, who has threatened to levy tariffs against countries that penalize US companies. Tesla CEO Elon Musk said on Tuesday that he would reduce the time he devotes to Trump's Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, from next month and will focus more on running his multiple companies. Musk said that he will cut back his role in the Trump government as the company's latest profits and revenues showed a plunge during the beginning of the year. Musk's comment came after his company faced losses. Shifting focus now, a deep sense of loss hangs over St. Peter's Basilica as preparations are underway for Pope Francis's funeral on 26 April. On Wednesday, his mortal remains were taken in a solemn procession from Casa Santa Marca to St. Peter's Basilica. Cardinals accompanied the open casket as it passed through St. Peter's Square, where worshippers gathered and applauded the late Pope. Meanwhile, security has been stepped up around the Vatican City. Metal detectors, X-ray scanners and a no-fly zone over Rome are all in place to ensure safety ahead of the ceremony. That's it in this edition of DD India Live, but do share your thoughts with us in the news of the day. You can get all the news and updates in the DD India mobile app. It's available on both Android and iOS platforms. You can scan the QR code now on your screen to download it. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. This is Mimran Bhattacharya from all of us here in New Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live. Namaskar.